you can fall down that rabbit hole. That
rabbit hole.
Such a hoe. But where you get so to the extreme of being organized, the point where now you're wasting time.
Restaurant Punk, what's up? What do we got? What do you want to do?
You know, we got a bunch of things opening up.
A bunch of what?
Restaurants opening up, a bunch of things, bunch of locations. And a lot of us run things differently. So I wanted to talk about organization when it comes down to operating a business. And we know a lot of us aren't as organized as others.
Why are you looking at me?
Because you will fall down that line of not being as organized. And that's why I wanted to have you here. And I know Liz is very organized, as well as myself. And this isn't an attack team. This is more of a
this actually
key points on what you can do, what you can't do, what you should, what you shouldn't, and not to get yourself way over your head because you're taking it too easy.
Sorry, saying Nico and Liz versus Yianni?
No, that's not what I said.
That's what it sounded like.
Okay, that's maybe what it is.
Yeah, like
all right.
right against wrong.
I'll argue this.
Right versus wrong.
I'm ready for this.
I just like the mic.
Bring it on, Skip Bayless.
Ew.
Let's go. What do you got?
All right, so instances.
I just licked the mic.
All right, so organized versus unorganized.
Correct.
Regarding your
Everything.
business.
Your business, correct.
Life. Well, we're going to focus on
Business. Okay.
Business, but you know,
on
she would say
business.
life could affect the business aspect of it, your personal life.
Okay, well, let me ask you guys a question. Is your bedroom clean?
Yes.
Do you make your bed?
Yes.
What do you want, a f***ing cookie? Like, why? Like,
Because I answered yes.
yeah, because you, why do you make your bed? Can I ask you guys why you make your bed?
Because when I do it, I wake up and I make a bed, then I just accomplish one task for the day. And I feel like I pat myself on the back.
And something.
I'm just saying, don't you have checklists? So that's the first thing on the checklist every day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, boom, I just accomplished something.
My life is a shithole.
Yes.
My house is a shithole.
Yes.
It's not, okay, let me rephrase
Your
that.
organization is a shit.
It's a fucking mess, right? It's a mess.
Well, it's cluttery.
I prefer to clean once a week than be like that every day. Like I'll be in the car with my brother, the Pete, and you know, I'll have a coffee. And every fucking time I get out of the car, he's like, you want your coffee? That's like a signal for, I don't want this coffee cup in my car. Can you please take it and get rid of it? So he is also very organized. So when it comes to your business, I'm much more organized business-wise than I am personally. Nico, you've seen my car over the years.
Yeah, I have. But we're talking more about a little bit of the personal adding to the business aspect of it. We're talking about paying distributors on time, paying your bills on time. We're talking about where do you put your sheets that come in? When do you pay your sales tax? Things of that nature, organization that, you know, people need to know about.
Okay.
For instance, QuickBooks, right?
Okay.
A lot of people, a lot of companies out there use QuickBooks.
Correct.
And some people do every single detail, every single receipt that comes in that day. So they don't have to worry about it in the long run later, correct?
Correct.
A lot of us do it at the very end of the year. Just bunch them all up, put one number in there and call it a day, which I think is great as well. But you have to sit there for a day or two or three at the very end and do it all, find everything to put in an organization as opposed to just doing because you have it right there and there. Do you see what I'm saying?
Agreed. Okay.
For some
hear what you're
people
saying.
it's easier, for some people it's not. But I feel like if you're more well-rounded, organized, it's easier for you later to focus on other things as opposed to taking 3 days out of your year to focus just on that.
Well, Liz, how would you define Restaurant Punk as far as organizationally speaking when it comes to files and
Insanely.
can you take a minute just to tell
I have
our
about
guests?
17 binders. Okay. So I have a checklist for every task, every part of the editing process that I check off because if there's at what I said, at least 20 different tasks.
Right.
And so I have a checklist for each episode and it's a chart. And then I have folders are all organized the exact same way for every episode. Just how my workflow, it's just insanely organized. If you're not, you're never going to get as much done as I get done. We collectively get a lot done because it's organized. We would never be able to get that much done.
And
Would you- go
I'm
ahead.
so sorry.
Good, bud.
One key point about that is that when you're organized and you have your binders, I think that's a little extreme, but that's just me. That's okay. It works. Don't get me wrong.
Did you look in my binder?
I have. I was actually looking through it last week. It's wonderful.
Right.
I'm not against it whatsoever. What I'm saying is that with that kind of organization, though, you're never wondering or pondering, am I supposed to do this? What's due next? have we talked about that or any of that nature because you're so well organized? I'm just saying the 17th.
Prepared.
That's just you. That's fine. And that's the thing with you, because you're saying I'm going to clean it once a week. You might not, right? Because you have so much going on, which is wonderful, but then you might forget something. You might forget a key point. So when you make your lists that you always do,
yes,
that's organization.
I mean, I just write 30 things down on a piece of paper and say, I need to get this done.
Correct. That's organization.
As opposed to watching what Liz does. And I'm like, I can't do that. It's impossible, even if I tried.
That's a different level of what we're discussing. Making it even a list for a meeting is talking the key topics that we need to talk about for whatever, as opposed to trying to think about what you have to talk about next. And did I hit that? Did I not hit that? Organization is important.
Do we think that organization translates into restaurants and bars?
100%.
How do you figure?
Inventory wise?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Go ahead. What else? So,
well, workflow, just as bartending, workflow. So the way I set up my well and the way I direct my bar backs, I want it set a certain way because that's how I can produce the most. That's how I can be highly efficient and highly productive. Every step in any job you do of the process, the more you streamline it, the more productive you are going to be in the end. Because if you're doing the same thing the same way over and over and over, that process, it's like the repetition of it just makes you faster.
Yeah,
I think it's a strength. I don't think it's the best strength to have when it comes to business. Am I allowed to say that?
I mean,
was there an argument there?
This is what I'm going
to say. I know you're not organized in the same way that I am, but I will have to say this. The reason I am with a podcast is because there are a lot of episodes in play being edited at the same time. So you have to, okay? But you can fall down that rabbit hole. That
rabbit hole.
Such a hoe. But where you get so to the extreme of being organized, the point where now you're wasting time. Because like you said, you could every day you could sit there and input the information in your QuickBooks opposed to doing it at the end. Like, so I have another business where I have inventory. I don't sit there and look at it every day. I wait till the end or months later or at the end of the year, and then I look at it. But I keep all the paper, the necessary documents organized so when it is easier for me. But if you think about it, the time you sit down, then you mentally prepare and you do a small portion of it every day, that's not efficient. If you wait till like the end of the month and do it once a month, in my mind, it's more efficient because you're completing that same task over and over and over and over. Listen, it takes you an hour to get it done. You're doing it over and over and over in 1 hour, opposed to breaking it up per day.
I agree with that.
It's like assembly line style concept.
But like in the back of the house, there's one rule for the servers. Never leave the back of the house. Never leave the kitchen area empty-handed.
I agree with that.
So you're always going in the back and you're efficiently, organizationally taking plates to set up in the front. You never leave empty-handed. As opposed to taking them in bulk, you're taking a little bit at a time, and that way just keeping it
hands in, hands out.
Hands in, hands out.
And that makes sense. It depends on what you're attacking.
Depends on what you're attacking.
So like, I don't think that one way of being organized is better than the other. It's circumstantial. It depends on what you needed at that point in time, right?
Correct.
But you have to be aware of that sometimes you need to be more organized and sometimes you need to save it and do it in bulk later. It's just, you have to be smart about it.
Yeah.
I think efficiency plays the biggest role. And I think that's my strength. That's what I believe, in my imagination, that my efficiency, I could be efficient, but I think once you add task upon task upon task, and then you add people on top of people on top of people, and then your personal life comes into it as well, and then you start opening multiple businesses, and then you start getting into things with accountants, and there's the list never ends. So when I look at my bed, I'm like, do I really want to make it? I don't think I've ever made my bed in my life. Ever.
Okay.
Ever.
When I was in 5th grade, my teacher asked me if I made my bed. And I said, why? Why would I do that? I'm going to mess it up later. And she said, well, don't you want to go to bed when you at night go to bed and be in a clean and neat bed? And I said, no, who gives a shit? But that was at the time. But now I see differently because me, like I said, it's like a psychological thing. It's like me completing a task and just checking it off.
I feel like if you make your bed in the morning, that's the first start of your day to having an organization.
You know, I've seen these speeches. I don't believe it. And I would argue that messy people are more, there's a saying about
Well,
I know.
enlighten us. What are they?
Are smarter.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know that. That's
Well, yeah,
true.
that's true. Actually,
That is true. Have you heard
I
that?
believe Yeah,
I know I'm saying it wrong, but there is something about messy people are just geniuses.
I used to.
I'll
Make
say
fun of
about
you.
that maybe.
I
Huh?
used,
Maybe
Are you
that.
agreeing?
Maybe about that, about geniuses.
Are
or
you saying I'm
something.
shitting genius right
Well,
now?
I'm going to say this because I know I'm not saying I'm a genius.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying it either.
You are not messy.
But I'm just saying, when I get into the zone, when I'm working on something, especially if it's something creative, my house is a complete disarray. And I'm like, no, because you cannot interrupt the process or the creative process. You just let shit fall and get dirty and whatever, get messy. Clean it later, because once you get into that zone, that creative zone, organization just doesn't matter. I don't care.
Okay.
That's just me. So it depends on what's going on in my life. Like for you, your daily life involves a lot of different type of things that aren't the same every day. So if I wake up, I'm editing, it's the same thing over and over and over. So I can be organized in that way. It's easy to streamline that because it's always sameness. His stuff is all over the place because he's dealing with accountants, with lawyers, with businesses, with real estate.
Yes.
Nothing's ever the same in every day for you, whereas my day is pretty much the same.
correct.
Does that make sense?
It actually doesn't make sense.
So
Yes and no,
it makes
but-
sense for me to be that organized.
Right, but learning that, as a group, coming together, whether it's bar, restaurants, or our podcast, when people work together as a group and help,
Yeah.
and whoever's leading the charge is broken free of that, and they can go on to pursue other things that benefit that group, like with Restaurant Punk, with everybody putting in and helping just a little bit here and there, it allows you to go and create other things. So, I would put that in the same category as restaurants, or if you're trying to grow, or growth in itself as an entrepreneur. If you have help, your job is to move forward and create value, not stay stagnant. Just find other things. Does that make sense?
I know what you're saying.
Right? You own multiple restaurants.
Which you also have to, what you're saying, organize as well. The delegation,
I
That's
find
exactly what I was saying. You have to be able to delegate. To set yourself free and to leave it to other people to accomplish these certain goals. You have to be able to explain it and to delegate it so that you can move on.
All right. So at the end of the day, you guys are great because you're organized, and okay. I'm pretty good.
No, you
Because
are
I'm-
good. No, you are good.
Oh,
with the
stop it, Nico.
organization.
Stop it.
What
Goddamn
I'm saying
fucking right,
is-
I'm good.
What I'm saying is that people sometimes need to organize how they live their life and running restaurants or businesses, because running one is one way, but when running multiple businesses, and then you have to worry about who's going to get hired for here, what's the menu going to be like for here, you have to kind of organize that and make sure that it's proper in place. So you're not mixing things up or screwing things or forgetting to pay your sales tax or using the wrong sales tax payment for another business. Do you see what I'm saying?
Which I've done. Yes.
Yeah, so
Agreed.
have I.
Uh-huh.
So have I. So I feel like a little bit of organization is key, if not a lot is key, but just how you handle the organization is different. You definitely need organization. And I would highly suggest everyone know how to do Excel.
Well put, brother. Well put.
life-changing.
I love it. Restaurant Punk. Did we help? My advice would be f your personal life, leave it a shithole, attack your business, and worry about your business.
Yes.
Your business is more important. Love you. Yanni.
Liz.
Oh, go ahead.
Did you say Liz?
No, I said
Oh, okay.
Nikos.
Liz.
Liz McBadass.
Nikos.
Restaurant Punk. Love you guys. Out.
Bye.
Are we on audio? Good? Everything's yeah. All right, Liz, let's clap.
Okay. Shot.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. What you got? What do you want?